We are holding page Tafshin Chav Hey, the ending of the Sefer. Namish, the last 10 pages. Tafshin Chav Hey. Um, yeah. So we were learning the Chala. We learned last week Sif Tes. We're holding Sif Yud now, page Tafshin Chav Hey. We were learning there's a din that we don't make a bracha on the samim unless it was oimid lakach, if it was meant for this purpose. For example, you can make a bracha on Peiris, even though the ikr is for achila. Right. However, since the regilus is also to smell them b'shas achila, so it's considered something which is also oimid la'achila. I mean, oimid l'reach. And we spoke in Siftes about certain things which there's a doubt about. It's not clear. It's not clear, like certain spices. You put cinnamon, exactly. Cinnamon, Cinnamon look like this. When you take it off of the tree. Tasty, right? Also spices grounded. And so I said, it's when you take it from the tree, that's what it look like. So something would take it, you smell it. You smell it. So there's a machlokes about certain things if it's considered oimid l'riyah. So there, for example, we don't make a bracha on hot bread that has a nice smell because we don't want to don't go smell it. You're in the house, you smell it automatically. You don't have to stop you don't have to close your nose. It tastes much better, hot bread. But you should better not to go over to it, to sniff it and smell it, because then you're getting yourself into the shayla. Toiv. Not Isser, but Toiv. Because it's not clear, you can say the lechem cham is oimid l'hariach, or it's a regilus l'riach or not. No. It's not clear. No. So therefore, I never saw somebody in the bakery big bread. Oh, taking this challah. Walking into the bakery, smell the challah. Smell already. You don't need to smell it. No, not like I guess I'm eating. Mama smell. But what about the coffee? So the coffee, Right, you have a 7 stores that had one after selling of 20 coffees, about million that drawing of war money. Especially the best they grind, you're catching the benefit stories of the status. Sif Yud. Kafilu psamim ha'imdim lahariach bahem. Even though some which are take, indeed, there to smell. If they were put in a certain place, not in order to smell it, you don't make a bracha on it. You put it away in the closet to put it away safe. Someone enters into the closet and he smells it, and he mevarech. Further, bigger chiddush, afil nichas kedei lahariach b'hem. You went into the closet because I want to give a smell to this. No. Because it's not sitting in a mukim to smell. It's in the closet put away. You're a taka going in to smell. But it's not sitting there in the mukim. It's right to smell. Abo k'shemunachim b'chanus shenimkarim sham. Anyone who enters a store that sells it, he has to go make a bracha. Why? Shem lechasim sham eskaven a moiche gam shialem im reach to yifkitzu aleim koinim. There's going to be
He's going to get the bed message.
yeah, he wants to smell it. He's not leaving in the back room and saying, "Oh, you want this? I'm going to go take it out." He puts it out to make the whole place smell. So it's a oim. Therefore, you make a bracha. V'chein hamoicher the one who the store owner he enters into the store the first time of the day is to make a bracha because it's oim midlahariach.
So every morning he said the bracha. When you go to
when he opens up his shop, it's to make a bracha. Now, even those that are in a side room in a closet that was put away to safeguard it, which we said earlier, you don't make a bracha on it. If you went in the room, you didn't just smell it while it was sitting there. You took it off the shelf to smell it. And you make a bracha. Now it's in a mokim she'oim l'riach.
you did it at the moment.
רק שמוקים זה, מאחר שהם בעצמם אוין לריח, רק שמוקים זה, שמנוחם עתה אין מנוחם לריח. כי אם שבים בידה, שינים מקוים ותחיית כדי לריח. You need to have two conditions to make the bracha on vitamin samim. That the samim is oimid l'riach, it's a regulus. Yeah, it's not something that people are meriach from it. You just happen to go there and be meriach and you don't make a bracha on it. Furthermore, it also has to be something sitting in a place, even if it is regilas l'riach and this is samim, but it has to be sitting in the mokim where it's ragil smell it. Put away in a closet, it's not ragil. But when I came into the closet and I picked it off the shelf and I brought it to my nose, that you're shana the mokim. Now you make a bracha on it.
If you bend down, then pick it up, you bend down, it's If you didn't pick it up, you bend down to smell. Well, you don't make a bracha.
Therefore, no. Kiven shigbim biyad yeshinim mekayim otei chat geriach mitam zeh, and it's the parentheses, it's sugrayim. Hainoito pri biyadei la'achle bavad. Someone took a fruit into his hand just to eat it. And afterwards, you lift it up to his nose to smell. You also change the spot. Before it was putting it into your mouth. Now you moved it higher up to your nose.
Thinking not to smell it. Eat. By changing his mind and holding your feet. Eating it's chilling up.
Yeah. Sifid Aleph. Reyach Toiv. She'ein li Iker. If you're going with the ants again. Reyach Toiv She'ein li Iker Kiven Begodim Hamu Gmorim. We discussed this din already. We didn't look inside. But you had those begodim that smell good because they smoked into it a nice smell. Yesh oimin she'im mevarach areichav. The Rambam says that you should not make a bracha on it because it's not the begodim are not oimin l'riach. The toiv lachosh v'limnoyim. Don't smell it, not to get you someone to the shayla. Have a kli show you b'teichiv samim v'nikot areach l'teichid v'hakin l'varach alav. That's no shayla. Everyone's masking that you should not make a bracha on it. Shehum chubayab samim k'sheyikot areach al teichid.
The reason you make something that said that you to hold it, not to make the box of it smell.
Begodim is a chiddush. Why? Begodim, you dafke put the smell into the begodim. You put it there, dafke, you're miskaven.
Right.
Still more, the Rambam says, no, the begodim is not something that's rogil to smell. That's not oy milariya. Definitely says, kol shekain, in a case where, let's say, the kli, the bowl, the bottle, the psalm is sitting in. Once it's removed out the psalmim, now there's still a leftover smell in the cup, in the bottle. I smell that, I don't have to make a bracha. Why? No one ever had in mind that the reason why it's sitting here is in order that when you take it out, it should still smell good. That's no kavanah. The begodim, you have the kavanah, it should go in there, the smell. The reach toiv should go into the begodim. The Rambam still says, ain't levarev. But for sure, everyone will be maskim in a case where, like a case like this, where you pour it out the psamim and the bottle smells. If I go and smell this bottle, the smell of the bottle, I'm not going to make a bracha. Because there was no kavanah at all that the reach should stay here.
Right.
And it happened with Derech HaMeila. He was sitting here, so it gave off a smell.
But 1 second, with Gadim, emphasize Gadim HaMukmar.
Yeah.
When you buy something new, you have a smell there. It's not the Pesamim or the Kaloni.
No, he doesn't mean Hagimurin. It means Mugmarin.
What Mugmar? It's finished?
No, Mugmar means a different thing. Mugmar means, maybe it comes from Aramish. No.
It's from a Gamur.
Gamor, Hamem, Hu Achrei
Right.
Mugmar.
You can say Mugmar.
מוגמר, אני חושב שהמם הוא עיקר בתיבה.
השורש.
כן, שורש, אני חושב.
Why you say the Mugmar?
In modern Hebrew, you have a word מוגמר?
Huh?
Not such a word.
למה לא מוגמרים? בגדים מוגמרים? בגדים חדשים, יש להם ריח. טוב חסר.
I think מוגמר comes from the word, I think now back, I think it comes from the Aramic word. Aramis. It's from the word gumri, which means coals. Coals. Like I remember in Shabbos, Sechah Shabbos, the Gemara says, talks about Erev Shabbos, putting up meat. Before Shabbos, it says, Bisra, Basar is Bisra, Agumri, on Gumri. The coals, putting up over Shabbos, what's the halacha? When are you allowed to put it up before Shabbos? The dinim, because we're chayish, maybe you're gonna choyte gechalim. So the lashon we call the gechalim bisa agumri. I think mugbara means that it sits on top of the gechalim, and the gechalim give a smell. You burn the incense and it smells. That's the chora what it means. These things really have to look up in the Sefer Ha'aruch. One of the early Rishonim wrote a Sefer Ha'aruch, it's called. And here, it's like in
It's an encyclopedia.
yeah, it's to tell you that, but it's a different type of encyclopedia. It's to tell you maybe it's like, I don't know how you call these type of books, maybe dictionary. It tells you the shayrish of every word and the different meanings it could have in different places.
It's a good book.
Yeah, a very good sefer. This is a very old sefer. So, Lamaisa, what you see, we're learning over here, we see is, it needs to be, the psalm needs to be that this is ragil to smell it. And not only is it ragil to smell it, but it needs to be in a mokim that it's ragil, that it's meant to smell. It has to be be'etzem oimid l'reach, and it has to be munach and a mokim she'oimid l'reach. You could have real, legitimate psamim that are sold in order to give off a good smell. But if it's sitting in the closet, like we said, l'shoymim, you don't make a brach on it. Even you walk into the closet, even I'm going to ask because I want to walk in and get that smell. Nishmak, I walk in there every day, I smell it, and I don't make a brach on it. This is oymid l'hariyach. There's another tonight. It has to be in a mokim she'oymid l'hariyach. Not only does the chayfetz have to be emulariach, the mokim where it's sitting has to be emulariach. There are a lot more tanoim conditions l'gabe birchas hareach than l'gabe eating. Eating, we say you eat it, you enjoy, you make the bracha. Over here, we don't say always if you enjoy, you make a bracha. it needs to have certain definitions. It seems that because what I remember seeing is that because Berachos Hareach is not so tangible like Mamashi.
It's a ruchni.
Yeah, like the Hana, it's not as strong enough of a Hana like Achil and Shia. People are not lohut after the Reach as much as you're lohut after the Meichel Mishnah. The Achil Shtia is much more tangible, so the Berachos Hareach, the Hana of it is less. It's not such a Hana, such a strong Hana. Al Kain, when are we going to make a brachas Hana? When it's Take Hana. When it attack it's oimid lazeh and it's been mokim shayim lazeh. Then we say that this is what's the normal way to be reach, and there's more to know you, more conditions. Maybe the
Like you said, something based on English should not allow to spell. And if you did smell it, you don't get a beer. Why? Because it's delicious.
ein moil and bereach. There's no meilo.
But we come to davening and we say and the shul, that's the baby there. Not after that.
But I knew there was a lot of people at the time, Lavona, all the stuff.
Yeah.
If there's a lot of names, it's just a lot of names, so the smell is probably horrible. In order to take a look and make
The Rambam in his Sefer Moira Nevuchim, he spoke to his generation. In his generation, his daughter, they were challenged by Aristotle philosophy. Aristotle lived much earlier, times of Chazal, but they were very, that was very prevalent in that time period. And people only wanted to do things if it made sense to them logically. Don't come and tell me we don't understand the reason. You need to explain it to us. So the Berachos writes, for example, every mitzvah he comes and he rationalizes the mitzvah. He tries to explain it api seichel b'pashtut, so people understand the reason and they will keep the mitzvah and understand the Torah things, and not to make fun of the Torah. They understand the reason. Every day had to deal with its thing. There's no Indian to go and learn something that was written for a specific day or specific people that need it. I don't need to go now and tell every yeshiva bachar go learn in the Nevuchim. It's not going to help him. By Chassidim, they used to say that you're not allowed to go to. If you're learning in Nevuchim, you shouldn't go to sleep after you learn the kasha without the tenets, because the kasha is that how could there be a Eibishter? How could there be this? How could he do this? So you left off with a shayla. You're going to sleep with a machshava of kriyah. So you can't go to sleep till you learn the answer. But he said it's different in Tanya. You could go to sleep after the question. Why? In Tanya, for example, in Shar HaYichud V'Amunah, which now in Chitas we're learning, we had it a week ago. The ending of Perek Dalit, the Alter Rebbe asked the question: since the whole world comes from the Eibishter, and the Eibishter creates everything called egg every second, if he wouldn't recreate it, it would all go back to Ayin Ve'efes Mamish. So he asked Alter Rebbe, how could it be that there's a world b'chlal? How come the world doesn't just cease to exist? It's not a metzias b'chlal. How come we're able to see a olam hazah gashmi? So the next parak he explains that there's a concept of tzimtzum, the Eibush is mechase on the oir, so you don't see the emes. So, but if you leave off with the kasha at the ending, the parak dalad, and you go to sleep, the kasha you're left with is a different kasha. The kasha is, how could there be a world b'chlal? The Eibush there is a vade here. Alikus b'pshitis. Oilam is b'schadshis. What is it? You don't understand b'chal how there could be a world. If the Eibishter runs everything and he did it all, how did he make a world that he concealed that we can't see the truth? So this type of questions okay to leave off with. That you don't understand the world, that you don't understand the Eibishter, that's already a story you shouldn't go, a shayla you shouldn't go to sleep with. Mishnah Be'er. After Omer Sheish Dvarim L'Hakil on Yom Tov. Mechavdin beis hamites u'menichin es hamugbar beyontif. Shagnashi mugmar levoine agabe gecholim. Oh, it's Moshe Gecholim.
That's what you
You
said.
were listening on the phone. So you you remember this Gemara?
No, Dr. I mean, Rabbi Google.
Ah,
I remember it was a bunch of said it was
a Gemara.
yeah, so that's
Okay, now you found it's a Mishnah. I remember it was a Gemara in.
it's also Gemara. What brings it or order the Mishnah.
Uh,
It's also a Shabbos, and I remember learning.
yeah, so it's not a word that's why you don't hear any sort of form of it
That's
in
regular.
a Lashon Kodesh. In Ivrit, you would have some type of a form of it, maybe a changed form of from Lashon Kodesh, but over here, it's
The
a Lashon from the Gemara.
The shorish is gamur, gamar, finish. It's finished.
Yeah, the ending he says, "But the Gamer also, yeah, yeah, the Shekoyach." He was just learning Beya recently.
No, I was Google. I
you're good.
remember. I thought it was used in Shabbos. Once he said it was a Mishnah, so I said, "Oh, I think I might have tried to name there."
There you go. So it seems like
Yeah.
the emes is that I said that the mem is the shayrish. I'm not sure because it's gumri. Because gumri is without the mem. It's a different word. It's a different word in it's an Aramic. It's a different word.
It's not regular word. Don't hear it so much.
Which is not
I'm
nice.
saying it's Lashon Kodesh.
Yeah. So it's a new type of word.
Uh-huh. The different for Lashon Kodesh. Why wouldn't he say the word gechalim? It's interesting. What the shayrish of the word is.
It's the loina gabel. It's the idea of scenting something.
He's saying it's not the gechalim itself. It's the whole this maisa of doing it. The maisa of doing it. He's saying.
Right.
Echad. Here. But I do see that Lamashal the okay, but it could be that it's not specifically whether for spices. Lamashal, the Gemara said that basar bisa gomri, whatever you are putting on top of the gecholim, it could be that act of smoking, right? Smoking something, not gecholim, but not it doesn't mean specifically levina or basar. It means you're smoking something. Maybe the idea of smoking something.
You buy again.
Like he says, legamer, like later on the Gemara in the legamer, so it's the idea of smoking, yeah. So probably you could look on the Sefer Auto, but yeah.
So when you go by, you want to like about buy the kefanim. There's different kinds. Smelly, not smelly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. What, to make a
That's
nice
meat.
smell?
Yeah, that's what make it.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
Smelly meat. Yeah.
Well, new thing, maybe this summer I have to try it out.
They have in Hebrew, the similar, if nobody, the Solomon has the same inside to give you a strong smell and something.
There in Hebrew, mina mufhar and mina mubumar. That's such a thing.
Yes.
Oh. Well, what does that mean? What does that word mean?
It's the top of the line. Mina mufhar, it's the most beautiful. And mina mubumar says also, it's the top of the top.
Mina Mugmar. Where did that come from, that word? That it's
Mina
complete. Lashon Gamor?
Gamur. Gamur, it means it's finished. It's top.
No, I hear you.
The shorish is given memtesh.
It's the same word, but they're using it for Gamor, not like over here for smoking. Right here. Okay, so we see this Kama Tanoim when it comes to some Berachos Aliyah. Sif Yud Beis. Now, God, we for the next few halachas is going to go off of clearly dealing with Reach and go to Shechesh Shechiyanu. Haraya Pri Chodesh Mischadish Shana L'Shana. Afil Shnei Pamim L'Shana. V'nene V'li Asoi V'varech Shechiyanu V'varech Shechiyanu. Afilu Raya B'yad Chaveirei Oy Ala Ilon make a bracha on the riyah. From einena b'ri asoi, eine mevarach hat shas achila. If you don't enjoy the riyah, the new fruits are here. It's a delight to see it. But you don't have that. You wait till shas achila because then you takavana. That we never make under the year. You only make the Kadesh Lechalek the Mishanana B'riyase Shana. Achila, everyone has a no when you eat a new fruit. I haven't had this in a long time, it's a new season. Now you can get everything a whole year. But then it's seasons. There was no shipping and delivery. It was seasons when you have it. So it was a hana in the city. Oh, now we're able. This fruit started to grow. It's not. I haven't had this in a year. So some people are more edel, and even as soon as they see it, they're able to have that oinig. But others not. So therefore, the minute became to make the bracha b'shas l'chil when everyone has a hana. And that's why I want to explain to you something. Look at the next din. V'yivarech tchila shechiyanu v'ach kaperet p'yetz be'padama. The reason for this is because be'etzem, that's what comes earlier. So when it comes, let's say, Rosh Hashanah, you don't really have it. You know why? You anyways make the Shechina earlier because you're making on Kiddush. Now, because there's a certain suffix the second night, so you take a Pri Chadash on the second night of Rosh Hashanah. So you make the Beis Beis anyways later. But let's say during the week or Chamisha Asa B'Shvat, yeah, like Ba'im or some other time of the year, you have a new fruit, a Pri Chadash. You're Yemeledis, like the Rebbe said, you should try to make a Shechianu or Yemeledis, but not to make it direct in Yemeledis because it's not clear that everyone agrees to this. So make it a tziduf, make on a new fruit, find a new fruit, make a new fruit. Like by Tkiyas, what do they do? The Baal Tekeya, the same reason why by Kiddush, the second night of Shoshana, it's a question about the second night of Shoshana, how do we view it? With 2 days of Shoshana could be considered like one long day, because even in Yerushalayim they keep 2 days. Shoshana is the only Yom Tov that the whole world keeps 2 days. So therefore, the 2 days of Shoshana is a different status. Second Yom Tov Sheni like a regular Yom Tov Sheni. So Yom HaArichta Danya. It's like one long day. So because of this becomes a shayla, should we make a shechiyanu on the second day? But every Yom Tov Sheni, we always making shechiyanu. Whatever you do on the first day, you do on the second day. The only Yom Tov you don't make shechiyanu is the last day's Pesach. The last 2 days. The reason is because it's a hemshich of the same Yom Tov. Shvi Shal Pesach is for Kriyas Yamsuf. Took them 7 days till they came to the Yamsuf. Kriyas Yamsuf is a hemshich echad to Yitzis Mitzrayim. So therefore we don't make a Shechiyanu. The ladies get all confused. They don't make a Shechiyanu those 2 days. Everywhere else we always make a Shechiyanu. Shoshana, we want a new fruit. Besides when the ladies are saying their Shechiyanu by the Halakas Neidah Shabbos Kodesh. And when the men later say it on the Kiddush, the women shouldn't say it again. They already said it. Right? Now, and also the same thing applies to the Shechiyanu on Tkiyah Shofar. The second day of Shoshana, the Baal Tekeya, the same suffix is on whether or not he should make a bracha on his Tkiyah Shofar the second day. So what they do is the Baal Tekeya wears a Beged Chodesh the second day. He puts it on, and he's mechavin that this Shechiyanu should go not only for the Yom Tiv, should go on the Beged Chodesh. Ledina, if someone didn't have a Pri Chodesh, he forgot, he didn't have a Pri Chodesh, or the Baal Tekeya didn't have a Beged Chodesh, the din is you still say the Shechiyanu. Because the Ikar Halacha is, you're supposed to say a Shechiyanu. The Rebbe would wear bring in a new scarf, new handkerchief. So to bring a new Beged Chodesh, then you should have a Kavanah on both. Well, that's why during the year, when you have a new fruit, you always make sure first Shechiyanu, then Peirik V'Etz. Reason is because Be'etzem, the Shechiyanu, you're really supposed to make B'Shas the Re'iyah. The din in Chazal is Araya Pri Chodesh. The Re'iyah comes first, but then the Achila. But now we don't make on the Re'iyah, minig is to wait. But we're still going to say first on the Shechiyanu, and then we're going to do to the Be'er P'Etz. Okay. Now, Ein levarich, if you gemat shidig martashlum gidl hapri. Kalman berach mishaitziu apere shem ru'in lebracha. In tzarech last levarich shechiyano acher tashlum gidulon. You should really wait until the fruit is fully grown. Because remember, the previous halacha, we learned that the ikr is under the iya. So when do you make it under the iya? But if you made it as soon as it came out the fruit, you yaitza. And don't say it again. Because it's already not the first time. Two different types of pears. Shekoidin, Gedoyline,
I don't remember percent and you say
Baron is pears. What?
why does it should be on first when you're doing percent versus mitzvahs? On all the mitzvahs you say first.
Because of this part of the iya. Since be'etzem you should be making a bracha on b'shas iya, only the meaning of the oilam is to wait. So the iya is kaidem. First you see it. Now we push it off,
Right.
but be'etzem you're making also under the iya. B'shas.
Question.
Now the mitzvah you're making it on the gemat that you did a mitzvah. The mitzvah didn't happen yet, so you can do it after the. Now. Whenever each one is mischadish, you can make a bracha on that one. King tapuach shebasades, the field apple, tapuach shebaatze, hayard, wild apples, oy good godniyos, which are like I think berries. Shekoyin venkshul, kashin. If it tastes the same, adumais. It's another min, and you should make another bracha. Obviously, we're talking about another bracha at the same time. They're all here at the same time. One shechiyanu comes everything. We're talking about you should make another bracha. If you had one today, another one tomorrow, we don't say, oh, I already made a bracha on tapuchim. I already made an agasim. No. Each min, in each fruit, you can do by itself another shechiyanu. Ein mevarchen shechiyanu l'davar hanika heitev shuv chadash ve'ein ato kayotze by min hayashal. V'fiche mevarchen al peidah she'ein yichoylem skayim mishana l'shana. Shemgiah chadash ein ba'oylem kayotze by min hayashal. Yeah, only make a bracha on that fruit when there's no more of the old fruit. It's not around anymore. Even though some people are able to manage to keep it fresh. Like we do refrigeration, keep it fresh later on. Not too many people do that. They sit in pits, which is always cooler because it's not away from the sun. Dig a pit and put it in there, and the last years can reta. I think it's radishes. I think. Borik is beets. Ein mevarcha alein bechidusham hoil b'yesh shenim rabim keitzvehen. Shanim rabim. Shenim rabim. How do you pronounce it? Shanim. Shenim means sleep. Shanim rabim. Thanks. Even he said, I didn't eat it a whole year, so why should I make a bracha? No. So this is a shaila, by the way. What do we do for today? Because we have all like the debates that the new fruits are considered refrigeration for a long time.
There's a South American fruits are coming off. The shipping from the South. Shipping from all over the world. With vegetable fruits all around. There's no more seasonal items.
This is something I always struggle with this halacha. I don't know how. What do you do with this today? the concept of saying something is here for a new season, it's hard to know when's the season.
Beach, right? Only know this is that's in like another month from now. You're not going to sit in the store. You can't keep it in the refrigerator and up for 6 months or a couple of months. It's not only 40.
But why can't they bring it from countries where it's a different?
Because once you take it off the tree, you eat it, you have only one week to be 20. It doesn't pay for that. By the way, you can store it. If they need a place where you can store it, put it in the truck,
So where are they getting the peaches from? America, Kilo? It's
more
closer.
over here. That's it.
They grow here.
Yeah.
Saying certain fruits, the refrigeration doesn't really work.
Exactly.
I hear. Well, so those fruits, you could tiny that we still could say shahiyanu.
Yeah. I mean, that you don't see it in the store. Only in the southern Batman.
So you realize that? You see?
It's only a few weeks that's it. You can't.
You're to Fata Shibiano.
Oh, now he says something else. What happens even if you still have old produce of the same fruit? But the new fruit is so different, so fresh. The chodesh nikir hated, but taimoi has a very good taste. The gambam and isay also looks so much better. The varchan shechiyanu, you will make a shechiyanu even though you still have the older ones. K'ganarifa isha oisim dagan chodesh. Shenikarim hatev shem chadashim b'maras ha'ayin, uv'taimam shul shvach has a much better taste. What type of dish? Type of dish used to make with flour in it. But he's saying it's oisimi dagan chodesh.
Right. Fresh.
I mean, the bracha that you make, he says, it's not only dafka pri. Shechena can even be in dagan chodesh. Saying there's a difference between older wheat and the fresh wheat. And the fresh wheat gives a whole different taste. Now, what about reyach? Reyach, do we make a reyach? Reyach hamischadish mishana l'shana. Yesh oimrim levarach ala shechiyanu. K'moi al pri meichel. Yesh chelkin. That no. What's shat yesh chelkin? You don't make shechiyanu on reyach. The food is coming in the same nekuda. The reyach is not such a starke hana. So someone will say, yeah, just like pri. I will say, no. The reyach is not a hana that you make out of the shechiyanu. It's not such a starke hana that you should make on it. So therefore, when you should make a brach on it, below shame out saying shame Hashem, out saying melech fa'ilam, malchus. Just go barach ata shechiyanu. Don't say melech fa'ilam because that's malchus. Shame, believe shame umalchus. Barach ata shechiyanu v'kimanu de'alazanada. Whenever you say believe shame malchus, it means to skip out also melech fa'ilam.
And you can answer amen for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they say, Baruch Sheptrani Me'oine Shalazeh, for the Bar Mitzvah.
Usually once a lifetime.
And they don't say the Amen. They say Amen, Amen.
Same.
Oh, I was bringing earlier mentioning that the Rambam rationalized the different mitzvahs. So I was talking about by the smells that you were saying, that there's Ketaitis. So Rambam writes that why did they have Ketaitis in the Beis HaMikdash? The Abisha said, because they had such a bad stench. Such a stench from all the meat that was burning. So they had the Ketaitis to combat it, to give a nice fragrance. So this is the Rambam by Nevuchim rationalizing this. Or there was one of the Siddish Tzaddikim, one of the Radziner Rebbes. He was a son-in-law of the Ishvitzer, and he tainted that he said, what's pshat? He says, if you look in Zohar, the Zohar says that what's the inyan of the Ketores? Lahavich reich ra da klippus. The reich ra of the klippa, of the evil forces. Right. So the Rambam saw the inyan the way it was in the Soid in Kabbalah. But B'daire, he wasn't as man of being Mephitz Kabbalah. So the way he explained it was in a pshat way, because his Doyer was very into pshat. They only wanted to accept pshat. So it had to be something that they could rationalize. You tell them, clip this and this doesn't talk to them. So you rationalize the same idea, the Kabbalah idea, by saying it not the Re'echra of the Klippus, the Re'echra of the basa of the burning meat of the Kabbalists. And I think I'd said here once before, but the Ishvitzer himself said on Torah, which I think he writes in the Samuel that Adzina also, it was famous in Europe, this part, by Chassidish Yidden, that the Rambam comes to one mitzvah, he said, I don't know the reason for this mitzvah. Only one mitzvah, he does not have a rationalistic reason, logical reason. It's the lechem upon it. It's very strange. He could find every carbon, he found some reason. The lechem upon him, the Rambam says, ain't idea. There's no other reason. So, said the Chassidish Tzaddikim said like this. The same Torah. But Etzem, the Rambam saw the Yonim, the reasons, the way they were, apisoid in Kabbalah. And he was malbishit into Pshat. He only taught them the Pshat. But Etzem, the Shoirish of the Pshat, came from Kabbalah, from a site. What's the side over here? If you look, the Arizal was a lot of generations after the Rambam. But the Arizal was the biggest Mekubal that came since the Shem Yochai, since the Zayir. The Arizal came into the world. So the Arizal explains, we read every Shabbos, the Zemiris, the Arizal said what to say for each Suda. So you should say, by Friday night, this Azamer B'Shvachin. He was Mechaberit. By day, he said Asader Lusudasa B'Tzafer de Shabbat. And by Shalosh Shodas, B'nei Heichalah. Happens to be also have songs for it in Chabad. Songs for it. I don't think he made it as a niggin, he meant to say it. B'nei Heichalah we have from the Alter Rebbe, was Mechaber niggin. Asader Lusudasa, in the morning we have, the Rebbe taught a niggin by Simchas Torah. In the wee hours of the morning he taught. In the beginning of the Siyas, it was 16 years straight, the Rebbe taught a niggin after the Hakafis and after the Suda, the meal, he would come back downstairs to the shul late in the night, or early morning, I should say, and he stood on a milk crate or on a bench, and everyone crowded around, and he taught a niggin. So the Rebbe taught the Asader L'Sodasa. Hey, Asader L'Sodasa. That's all. And Friday night, there's a niggin that Chassidim have. Azamber b'shvachin l'meyal getistin like a sing song. That Chassidim got made. Anyway, so that Arizal says in the morning we say Asadul V'Sadasa. He put his name there, Ani Yitzchak Gloria in the beginning. Arizal put his name in the Piyud. So it says there by Yud, it says Yigala Lon Taimei. Abish should be megala to us the reason the betresa name of the 12 name, the loaves of bread, the lachem apanim. What does it mean? The Arizal saying, Api Kabbalah, we don't know the reason. He doesn't know the reason. Hashem shemegala the time to us for the lachem apanim. Said the Ishvitzer, that's why the Rambam Meir Nevuchim wrote, I don't know the reason for lachem apanim, because I don't see the reason Api Kabbalah. Since Api Kabbalah, there's no reason. Even in Kabbalah, there's no reason. In Pshat also, the Rambam have no reason. Because his Pshat in Meir Nevuchim was not Stam Pshat divorced from a deeper meaning. The Pshat that he gave in Meir Nevuchim was the Pshat in the Halbasha of a deeper idea. It was a deeper idea that he was malpish into Pshat. But Be'etzem had a shoyrish in a deep concept. But by the Lechem upon him, there was no deep concept that he knew over there, because even the Mekubalim are tining that they don't know the reason. So that he also didn't know the reason for that. So also Nigla and Pshat, The Nister and the Nigla, the Gra says, and the Rebbe always kocht in this thing, Bechlal, that the Nigla and the Nister is one. The Nigla is the Nigla of the Nister. It's not the Pshat that we have two different titles. There's Nister says one thing, Nigla says one thing. My Nigla Torah is called Gufa, and the Nister of the Torah is called the Shmasa. The Neshama and the Guf are joined together. The Neshama and Guf make form a Adam. They join together. They are matched. The Nigla and the Nister are also Neshama and Guf. They're matched. The Nigla is the Guf, and the Nister is the Neshama. So we could sit and learn about the Guf, learn the Nigla, but embedded inside the Nigla is the Nister. Like it says in Gan Eden, they learn the deeper reason. Shnayim oichsem matala zeh omer kulishi zeh omer kulishi. Lamaila and Mesifta Derekia, what are they learning about over there when they go to Gan Eden? They're sitting and learning like we're learning, or they're learning Shayim oichsem matalas means two neshamas are arguing about a nitzos, a lekus. Who was mevar this nitzos? Is it me that did it? Or you're the one who made the bitter on this nitzos of the key? They learn in a whole different way. It's a nice pshat that was said at the Rambam. It's a very nice sefer that the Ishbitz son-in-law that Adziner put out, where he goes through and explains the inyan of a lot of mitzvahs, a lot of reasons that Rambam gives. He shows that be'etzem it was has a shirish and a deeper meaning. By the way, there's a machlekes b'chlal. I mean, in Svarim, about how much about the Rambam's shaykhs to Kabbalah, because openly we don't see anything from the Rambam of Kabbalah. The Rambam seems to be a very rationalistic individual. We don't see anything about supernatural about Kabbalah. He doesn't have any works of Kabbalah. A lot of Rishonim, they also wrote Kabbalah Svarim. The Ramban, the Ravid, we know they were Oisik in Kabbalah. The Rambam, we don't have anything of Kabbalah from him. So it became a machlekes, is discussions about, some say he didn't know Kabbalah. Some say B'Soif Yamav, in the beginning Yitaka didn't learn Teres HaKabbalah, but later on he went to teachers who taught him Teres HaKabbalah. Now, others point out that in the Rambam there are certain things that we have no other source for it besides for Kabbalah. For example, the Rambam writes by halachas apayis. He writes Shemanu miziknenu, heard from our Zaydis, elder people, that you should leave 40 strings, at least 40 strings. There's no other mocker for this besides for the Zohar, besides for Kabbalah. And Kahena rabbis, they picked up on certain things. In Chabad, the Messiah in Chabad is from the Alter Rebbe. Chabad Rebbes have a tradition going back to the Alter Rebbe that the Rambam was not only a regular Mekubal, he was a Mekubal Gadol. But he hid it all, because in his Zohar was not the time, in his place to be Megala, so he hid it fully, his knowledge of Kabbalah. But this is a discussion, different svarim, exactly what extent the Rambam. We mamish have Rishonim that work many works of Kabbalah.
Did the Rambam ever mention the Zohar?
No.
No, right?
I have to look at the times before to see when. You have to remember that the Zohar was found later. Yeah, no, but it was found in time already. The Ramban already saw. Pretty sure that the Ramban already saw the Zohar. The Zohar was to see exactly the time. Maybe I'm mistaken, but exactly the time that the Zohar. But the Zohar was, there were Yechidim that had the Zohar. Just the Olam didn't have the whole Zohar. Came a lot of discussion about the Zohar and the Kadmus HaZohar. There's a lot of Svarim discussion about the Zohar. The Maskilim wanted to say that the Zohar was was created by the one who published it. It was a Makubal, the Moshe Di Leon. He published the Zohar, and he said he found this, had this Ksav Yad manuscript, and he published it. So they said, people, the Maskilim wanted to say, oh, it was a work of Kabbalah, but it's not so early back. The Moshe Di Leon put it out. However, others proved that no, the Sefer goes all the way back. It's an early work.
Friday night, when you go there, why to the Kiddush, cover the body, why have that, we didn't see it.
So we don't know the reason for this, but in certain Svarim it brings that the Baal Shem Tov had this minig, that he covered the wine on the table, covered the bottles, the Shas Kiddush. So it's got an app brought down in Chabad Svarim, and saying the source of it, but it's also Mekubal in Chabad, that it's not the Svarim, but by people to be careful to try to close it. I actually heard from someone more of a halacha reason for this hanhaga, that maybe why the Baal Shem Tov did it, not suddenly was a side, maybe it was a halacha, because when you're making Kiddush, the wine that you make Kiddush on becomes pogum, because you made Kiddush on it. So not to say that when it's open, that your Kiddush is also going on the wine that's in that bottle. So you close it, that the Kiddush is only on my cup, not on this. But I'm just thinking, does it become pogum just by saying Kiddush on it? I have to look up it in. I think it's more when you drink it, your shoisa makes the begima. If you're not shoisa from it, unless they look at it like this bottle and the cup are like together, and I'm shoisa from here, it's like as if I was poiging that wine too. Al Kopan is such a minig, it doesn't say it, It's also a good idea, B'chlal, to close the bottles, You don't want it spilling, so it's also another good reason why to cover the bottle. They used to say a joke, that they have a joke that in Brisk was very into doing everything like the Brisk Rav did. So the Brisk Rav in Yishalayim was the son of Chaim, the Velvel, the Brisk Rav. So they said that the joke was that they saw the Brisk Rav taking the broom out from the room before he benched the Chanukah list. They said, "Why are you doing this, Rebbe? Why are you taking out the broom?" Because I don't want that next year they're going to say that in Bris there's a minhag that you should have the broom in the room when you were lighting the Chanukah list. So they said that next year the minhag became in Bris that whenever you light Chanukah list, you take the broom out of the room. That's one of the nasty jokes they say about the briskers. The real nasty one was that a brisker one time they found a brisker committed suicide. When they found a suicide note, and he wrote in the note that he killed himself because he was a shash, maybe Suffolk Amolig. He was so machmir, mahadab mitzvahs. It's a joke. But there was a Purim title.
Guys, we have a minute.
Only having a minyan, what? No.
Rabbi, פורח, האמת שהחיינו פורח,
No bracha at all. No shafiyana, no better than some.
How about the woman, pregnant woman at the Mikdash? Never had
So
for her, the reach was good.
It's a good shayla. I like the shayla.
This was
Kayak, everyone. Kayak.
Yeah, both necessities.
Really? It's a big wedding.
Thank you, everyone, for joining
When I eat lunch, I'm gonna go
virtually.
When I have time to eat lunch,
All the way down from Florida, down south. Thank you, Pinchas. Thank you, Yechon. Thank you for joining.
I like
give me a little piece.
your diamond.
Oh, the
You diamond. Not the woman, the
All
mittens
good.
and now your point.
Oh, the man?